Vitalik.
Okay, great. So today what I wanted to talk about is some of the stuff that's going to happen in Ethereum over the next couple of years, but also talk about it from the point of view not just of what's going to happen with the technology, but also from the point of view of what does this actually mean for people who are building things on Ethereum. Probably the biggest news this year, right, is the merge is coming. The merge is, so Ethereum switched to proof of stake. This effort that we have been working on for basically the last eight years, right? So the first blog post that we wrote about proof of stake was back in January 2014. And in the years since then, a lot of research has happened. In 2017 to 2018, we converged on what we call the beacon chain today, the version of proof of stake that we ended up actually implementing. 1.5 years ago, the beacon chain was actually launched. And so pretty soon, what's going to happen is this complete switch where Ethereum finally switches over to being a pure proof of stake system. And basically what happens there is Ethereum's application layer. So the applications, the smart contracts, balances, everything that is happening inside of Ethereum is going to be automatically moved off of the proof of work chain, which will basically just stop being functional at that point and move over to the proof of stake chain. Right? So after the merge, Ethereum will finally become a proof of stake system. Yay! Now, the merge is only the first step in this fairly long and complicated roadmap that we have, right? So after the merge, there's a bunch of other things that we plan on focusing on, but probably the biggest focus immediately after the merge is going to come on scalability, right? So scalability is also a problem that we've been talking about, we've been complaining about, we've been thinking about how to fix pretty much since the beginning of the Ethereum project and even before the chain launched all those years ago. And it's something where we've been actively thinking about it. There have been a lot of groups that have been actively developing solutions. And there's a lot that has happened over the last couple of years in the layer 2 space in particular, right? So some of the roll-up projects, so projects like Optimism, Arbitrum, ZK Sync, Loopings, Roll, Starknet, this big long list of things exists now, and that's something that did not exist at all, 3 years ago, and it's just made a huge amount of progress over even the last year, right? But there's even more work on scalability left to go. So people who have been following the Ethereum core development process might have heard of proto-ding sharding. So this is one of the next big PIPs that is in the process of development and is coming to Ethereum after the merge. So basically, the goal of proto-ding sharding is to create what we call these data transactions that have these data blocks. And the point of this is to just increase the capacity of the Ethereum chain to hold a much larger amount of data, right? And there's this very nice synergy between these data blobs and layer 2 rollup projects because rollups are very good at scaling transactions, but they need some space to put their data. And expanding the blockchain's ability to hold more data so that these layer 2 rollup projects can use is exactly what proto-ding sharding is about, right? Now, proto-ding sharding, as you can tell from the name, it's only the first step, right? So after proto-ding sharding, there's going to be a second step, which is just called ding sharding. And ding sharding will massively increase the number of these data blocks that the chain can hold. So that's the long-term roadmap, right? The long-term roadmap is to basically increase the amount of data that the Ethereum chain can hold up to somewhere around 16 megabytes every slot, right? And today, the average block is only about 80 kilobytes. So I'm massively increasing the amount of data that the Ethereum chain can hold. And it's done over the next a couple of stages. Protothink sharding is the first stage, and even protothink sharding by itself is going to be a big improvement over how much data the Ethereum chain can hold today. Now, at the same time as improving how much data the Ethereum chain can hold, there's also another effort that's happening at the same time, which is improving how much data rollups use, right? So this is data compression in rollups. This is something that I've talked for a long time about as something that really needs to happen. Basically, trying to pack a much larger number of transactions into a much smaller amount of space, so that we just get a big scalability gain for free, right? We can pack more transactions without really having to spend more resources at all. So this is just a chart that I published about a week ago that kind of shows the different stages and like how much you could do, right? So a transaction by itself, this is an ERC20 token transfer, takes about 188 bytes. And if you add the different forms of compression, so taking out 0 bytes gets you down to 154 bytes, doing some signature aggregation takes you down to 128, making stateless compression even better, 75, and then even more advanced compression, the kind of where the decompression algorithms look into the chain and look into the history, you can go all the way down to 23, right? So there's like a lot of this work that's actually started to happen. So a couple of months ago, Optimism actually implemented a 0 byte compression. And ERC4337 is also an effort that's been really picking up steam over the last couple of months, right? So a lot of effort to help the Ethereum chain hold a lot more data, and a lot of effort to help every individual transaction in a rollup use less data. So we're talking about Ethereum over the next couple of years being able to process a much larger amount of transactions than it has been able to before, right? So what do these two things mean for Ethereum, right? So these are not the only two technical upgrades that are happening to Ethereum, but there's probably the two most important ones, right? But, what does this actually mean for Ethereum from the point of view of someone using it or someone building on it? So starting off with the merge, right? So the merge is going to happen first. So